Hello everybody, I'm the owner of It's Yarn Good, and today I'm here to teach you how to make a little axolotl. For this project, you're going to need some Bernat baby blanket yarn in the colored baby pink, some dark pink velvet yarn. Of course it can be any color you choose, these are just the colors I'm going to use. Some stuffing, a 7mm hook and a 4.5mm hook, one for the big yarn and one for the smaller velvet yarn, a stitch marker, a yarn needle. It doesn't have to be curved like mine, but that's just what I prefer to use, and some safety eyes of whatever size you choose. And you're also going to need a basic understanding of how to do single crochet increases and such. I will try to walk you through everything, this being my first video, but it still would be quite helpful for you to know that kind of stuff. So we are going to start right at the tip of its nose, and it'll be one piece all the way to the end of the tail. And so we're gonna start first with a magic circle of 6, and I'll just walk you through how to do that. So first, we've got to start by having your string over your 2 fingers like this, and we're gonna wrap this one over here around and then go over this yarn. So then you're going to take your hook, this is the 7mm hook, and you're going to go under this one here, under that one, not under this one also, under that, and then you're going to grab this with your hook and bring it through. And then you're going to grab your working yarn again and bring it through this. And then you want to kind of tighten that, not too much though. So then we're going to start making some single crochet. So I just pull on this a bit first. If you pull on this, it can tighten the circle, as you can see, and you can pull this to make it wider. So to start, we're going to start by making 6 single crochet into this magic circle. So you go into the circle under both of these, this and this, and you're going to go under that, grab your yarn, and now you have 2 loops on your hook. Now you're going to grab your working yarn again and pull it through, and that's a single crochet. Hopefully you already know this to the video. I'm not going to spend before you watch this video, I'm not going to spend too much time explaining this. Maybe in the future I will let out just a how to crochet video. So then we're going to do that 5 more times. That's a total of 6. Okay, so now that should be 6. You'll have your loop from your first for making the circle, and then 6 more. It's really hard to count with this yarn also, so that's why it's also still better to have basic understanding of crocheting. But I'll try to show you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then counting them on your hook 6, not counting this. So now we are gonna tighten this circle, but this yarn does break, so you don't want to pull on it too much. Okay, so now we're just gonna skip this first loop that was making the magic circle, and you're gonna go into the next one with your hook, like so. Then what I like to do to make it more secure is go over this tail to the magic circle too. So just put that over your hook. You don't have to do this, but it does make it so that it will be more sturdy. So now you're gonna do an increase, which is the single crochet like I showed you before, but 2 in this stitch, not this one. Just skipping that one. One and 2. Okay, so now if you want to, you can put your stitch marker in. You could have put it in before you did the increases, but I'm going to do it I do it after because I feel like that's easier for me. So you have the loop on your hook, the other one you just did if you increased already, and then the last loop of your magic circle. And that's where I'm putting my stitch marker right now. Okay, so now we're going to increase all around, which will result in a total of 12 single crochet. I'm going to demonstrate an increase one more time. You go into the next loop, grab your yarn, bring it out, and then grab this yarn and bring it out again, and then in the same stitch, grab that and bring it through, just another single crochet. Okay, I'll see y'all when I have the full, all 6 increases done, resulting in a total of 12 single crochet. Apparently, I had actually done a magic circle of 7, so y'all got an extra thing to show to you. You're welcome. But that's all fixed now, and I haven't done my very last increase because I want to show you what to do about this little thing sticking out the loop that you skipped before. I'm going to take this out to make it easier for me, and what I'm going to do is this thing here sticking out, I'm going to go into that, just get a loop from that. It's going to be kind of tough depending on how much you tightened it, but it doesn't really matter what loop, just get one from it, and go into your actual last single crochet of your magic circle here, and we're gonna do one last increase. Okay, then I'm gonna put my stitch marker back in, and for this row we're gonna do single crochet in one stitch and 2 in the next stitch, so an increase, and then gonna do that, repeat that pattern all the way around. So you should repeat it 6 times. I'm going to show you 1 time to explain better what I mean. So you're going to have 1 single crochet in this stitch, and then 2 in the next stitch. That's 1. Then the same stitch, another 1. So that's 1 in this one, and then 2 in this one. And then you're going to do that 5 more times all around to get back to your stitch marker. Okay, so now that you've done that, I'm going to take my stitch marker and put that in the loop on my hook. And now we're going to do 2 rows of just single crochet all around. So you're just going to be single crocheting around the whole thing, and we're going to do it twice. Your stitch marker should help you count those if you can't see the rows in this thick yarn. I'll see you when I'm there. Okay, so I didn't move my stitch marker, so you can maybe see that I have 2 rows of just single crochet here and then another here. So I'm going to move my stitch marker, and now we're going to start decreasing to make the shape of the head. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 1 single crochet, and now I'm going to demonstrate to you a decrease. Now I believe this one is called the invisible decrease. There are a few different ways of doing it, but what I prefer to do is, you see how there's kind of 2 loops here, and I take the first one, the front loop as it's called, of this stitch, and the front loop of the next stitch, and then take my yarn and pull it through both of those, and then do it again as if you were doing a single crochet. So now we're just going to repeat this all along this for a total of 6 times this pattern completed. Okay, so as you can see, I've done my last decrease, so now I will have a total of 12 single crochet around, and I'm going to move my stitch marker, and then this is when I usually like to put the safety eyes in. So I'm going to set my hook aside and get these eyes I have over here, and I usually like to place these about 3 stitches apart. With the increases here though, that it does kind of make it a bit complicated. So I've got this one, then 1, 2, oh, and it's in the second row, meaning this is your magic circle, and then the row after that. So this eye, 1, 2, 3, and then place this one here. Of course, if you don't like the look of that, you can change it however you want. So now that we have that all done, and those eyes all secured, you gotta remember to do that. We're gonna go into our next stitch, not this one here, this is part of the last decrease you did, but this one here. You're gonna do a single crochet in this one, and a single crochet in the next one, and then a decrease in these two. So the pattern for this row will be 2 single crochet and a decrease, and you're going to repeat that 3 times around, leaving you with a total of 9 stitches. So now this next row is going to be increases for the neck. On it, we're pretty much right here where we're going to start getting bigger for the body. So this one is fairly simple. We're just going to do increases in every single stitch. And since you have 9 stitches, that should equal 18. I'm going to show you one increase. And we're just going to do that all around. So now that we've done increases all around, giving us a total of 18 stitches, we're going to do 5 rows of just single crochet to make this part of the body. And I'll see you when I'm done. Now this is usually when I stuff it. We gotta make sure to get it all in the head first. The head I prefer to stuff the most so that it's kind of firm. The body I like to leave a little bit squishy though, but definitely make sure not to overstuff it. If you have the stuffing showing through the stitches, that is definitely not a good look. So now that you've done that to your liking, this next row is going to be decreases to start the base of the tail. So the pattern for this row is going to be a single crochet and then a decrease. And we're going to do that all around. After we've done that, we're going to do 3 rows of just single crocheting all the way around. And now that we're there, we can first stuff it some more again, and then to continue on with the tail, we're about here right now, we're going to do some more decreasing, and this time we're going to do 2 single crochet in separate stitches, so one in this stitch and then another in the next, and then the next one is going to be a decrease. So we're going to grab these 2 front loops and then do pretty much a single crochet, and we're going to do that 3 times around. So now that we've done 2 single crochet and then an increase all around, we should have a total of 9 stitches, and we can stuff it now more if we want to. And we're going to do 2 more rows of just single crocheting around. After we've done 2 rows of just single crocheting around, we can move our stitch marker, and it's probably best now to count your stitches and make sure you have 9. And what we're going to do now is we're going to do a single crochet in the first stitch and then a decrease, and we're going to repeat that a total of 3 times around. And finally, we're going to do just 1 more row of single crochet around. Now is a good time to stuff it a bit more if you'd like to. Since the hole is so small, it's a good idea to use your hook to stuff it in there, like so. So now we're just going to do a row of single crochet, and since it's just 6 stitches, I'll just show you. 1, 2, oh, it's so hard to use this fluffy yarn. I can't tell you how many times I've messed up during this video. 4, 5, and 6. So now we can just take our stitch marker out, that doesn't really matter right now, and we're going to fasten off. And if you don't know how to do that, I can just show you. So gonna go into the next stitch, and we're gonna act like we're doing a slip stitch, if you know what that is, but we're just gonna pull our yarn through that and through the loop on our hook. And then we take our working yarn and pull that through this. And then you're gonna wanna leave kind of a tail so that you can pull it through this to tighten it. This is when we're gonna need our yarn needle. So we're gonna thread that end that we left on this through the needle. It can be pretty tricky with this big and fluffy yarn. See, that happens a lot where this yarn will just tear. And if it does something like that, where you can just pull it, the whole thing will come apart. So you just cut that bit off and then try again. And hopefully you've made your tail long enough. Now that we finally got our yarn through the needle, what we're gonna do, it's pretty hard to see with this big yarn, we're going to put our needle and weave it through the stitches. So see, I put it behind this stitch, and I'm going to skip the next stitch and put it behind this one until we're back where we started. Okay, so then we pull this to tighten it and close up this hole. Don't pull it too much though. This yarn will break. So then what I do with these ends you have is I'll just find pretty much any spot to go into, pull it through, but not all the way, so that you still have a loop right here. Then I'll pull this yarn that we're working with through this loop. It doesn't matter which side you go in. And then you pull that and tighten it. Don't pull on it too much, of course. And then you just go into a spot really near that and pull it through to hide it. Then you can just cut this. Don't cut it too close to here, to where you tied it off with though, because then the whole thing can come apart. And now I'm going to show you how to make its feet. So as you can see here, its feet are fairly small and simple. Here I have one, and it's literally what we're just gonna do a magic circle of 6, and then just go around that with single crochet. It can be pretty tricky because of how small it is, but I am just gonna walk you through the whole thing. So we're gonna make another magic circle of 6. That's my loop, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then we tighten that, and we skip this first loop that was caused by making the magic circle and go into the next one, preferably going over your tail here, and we're just gonna single crochet 6 times around, 1 single crochet in each stitch. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're gonna go for our 6th one. We're going to go into a loop of this right here, and our 6th thing from the magic circle. And then that's pretty much the foot. We just need to fasten off and leave a long tail on it like this for sewing it on. Now, all the things you make, the body and the foot, could be quite different sizes for you, as I crochet pretty tight. So, oh, that was a single crochet I did, not fastening off. So the things you do could be quite different from how mine look. But for now, but that's okay, because it should look just fine anyways. So we fasten this off. And sometimes with this yarn, I don't even bother with cutting it, I just pull it apart, because it's really so easy to do it. And then that's a foot. And then you just gotta make 3 more of those. I already have some, so I'll see you after you've made 4 total feet. So now that we have 4 feet, we are no longer gonna need the 7mm hook. You can just throw that one away. Now we are going to use the 4.5mm hook for the frilly parts. And for this, we're going to use this dark pink velvet. I use the dark blue on this just to change it up a bit, and you can use whatever color you want, including different ones for the body or anything, even different eyes. See, I used kind of ones that kind of an oval shape here, while these ones are smaller and more circle shaped. Now here's where it gets pretty complicated. You're gonna have to be using double crochet, and we're gonna have to reattach in the 15th row of this body, which you can pretty much should be able to count. But if you don't want to do that, and a bit of an easier way that I can do is after you did your 5 rows of single crochet here, and then you did a row of single crochet decrease. Now in person hopefully you can see it easier, but this is a decrease, so you want to go in the row after that, and you want it to be about the middle of the back, but it doesn't have to be perfect. As you can see, I didn't get it in the middle exactly on all of this, and it just makes it look a bit more frilly. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to follow in between the eyes and then reattach in the middle back of the 15th row, which is about in this stitch. So what you want to do is you want to go into this stitch, put your hook under and through there, and so we're going to reattach with our dark pink velvet yarn. So we're going to get that in our hook, and we're going to pull it through, not all the way, still leave a tail here, and now we're going to pull both of these through this to make sure this one comes all the way out, and that is a reattachment. So now we want to tighten that as tight as we can without breaking the thread. And then, so in the same stitch that we just reattached in, we're going to double crochet in, which I'm going to show you as best I can. So we're going to wrap this around this hook, and then we're going to be going over this tail here too. Going to go back into the stitch we reattached in, pull this through, so we should have 3 different loops on our hook, wrap that around again, pull it through 2 of those loops, so now we have 2 loops on our hook, and then wrap around again and pull it through both of those. And then in that same stitch we're going to do another double crochet, as that's called, going over this tail here again. Okay, so don't worry about this tail anymore for now, we'll hide that later. And you want to keep to about the middle of the back still, and want to go all the way around here, down here, and we're going to be doing increases with double crochet all along the back. So in this next one we did, which is about center, not exactly, we're going to do 2 more double crochets in this same one, and it should be about 8 increases with double crochets till you get to the end here. So that'll be 16 double crochet. And maybe you can even try to make it so it frills a bit, but that would make it more than 8 increases, of course. So I'll meet you when I'm on the end here. So now that we've done about 8 increases of double crochet and we're at the tip of the tail, what we're going to do is wrap this around our hook. We're still doing double crochet, and we're going to go into some of the loops of this tail. I try to do one on this side and one on the other side if you can get it, but it doesn't really matter. You could just do one loop on this side if you wanted to, because going on the other side is usually quite hard. Okay, so then we're going to do a double crochet into this, and a second double crochet into the tip of the tail, and then a third and final crochet into the same hole as you just did those 2 other double crochet. So that is 3 in that one stitch there. So now we're going to turn around, and what I like to do is I like to put a stitch marker in what is about the middle of the bottom to make it easier when I'm going to do the bottom of the tail. So I'm going to try to line this up with this as best I can, and we're going to do about 8 more double increases with the double crochet until we get to the same row that this was on right before our first decrease row after our 5 single crochet. And now that we've done about 8 increases, I actually did 9 here, we can just fasten off wherever's handy in the same row we're in or in the next one. I'm just going to do in the same one to make it look more parallel. And then we just fasten off, leaving a small tail, enough to hide, but not much. And then we'll move on to the face frills. So, where you want to do these face frills is about right behind the eye. We shouldn't need our stitch marker anymore. So right behind the eye. And then, so you can kind of see the rows here, but it's pretty hard with this big and fluffy yarn. But you want to go count 3 rows behind the eye. So this is 1, 2, and 3. And in that 3rd row, you want to go about right behind the eye. And you want to make sure to get it the same on both eyes, because it'll look pretty wonky if you don't. So what we're going to do is, kind of like we did for the tail, we're going to reattach 3 rows behind the eye. And for this one, we're going to be facing this way because we're going to work that way. So we're going to go into that stitch, get our dark pink velvet yarn, and reattach. Same as we did for the tail. Oh. So I'm going to make sure to tighten that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to be using, get you all a bit closer so you all can see this, because this is going to be kind of tricky. We're going to be using half double crochet, which I will show you how to do right now. So you wrap around your hook like you would for double crochet, and then you go into this stitch. You want to go 2 down from your hook, because you can't go into either of these ones. And so if you can see it, you have this one and this one. We're going to be going into both of these chains. So first we go into this one with our yarn wrapped around our hook, and then we pull it through. But instead of what we were doing for the double crochet, where we'd pull it through just these 2, we're going to pull it through all 3. So you have 1 loop on your hook now. Then in that same chain, we're going to do another half double crochet.
Okay, so then in the next chain, which is just the one you reattached from, we're going to do 2 more half double crochet in that same chain. So 1 and 2. Okay, so that's 1 of the little frills. There's going to be 3 total going along the side. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the next single crochet that you can see, and going to go into that, and we're going to do a slip stitch by pulling this through that single crochet there and the one on our hook. And I prefer to tighten that to make it look cleaner in the end. So then want to make sure not to tighten this one on your hook too much, because you're going to need to go into that. So now we're going to chain 3 again. 1, 2, 3. And we're just going to do the same thing and then repeat that again, where we're going to go down 2 half doubles in this and 2 half doubles in this. Then we're going to slip stitch into this and going to chain 3 and do 4 half double crochet, 2 in each stitch. Okay? I'll see you there. So now you can see I have 3 little frills, and I haven't fastened this one off yet, but I'll do that now. So I just go into the next stitch we can see and do like we did the slip stitch before. Pull it through everything, tighten it, and then we're going to pull this through this, which is fastening off, and then we're just going to cut that, not too long, but not too short. So then we can hide that when we're done with everything else. Or you could hide it right now if you really wanted to, but I don't feel like that. So now we're pretty much just going to do the same thing on the other side, but I'm going to show you a little bit. So right behind this eye about, not too close to this side over here, so that'll be about this stitch, and we're going to reattach in it with this dark pink velvet. Oh, oops. I'm going to reattach by pulling all this through. Make sure you get that string all the way through there. I'm going to tighten it. And then we're just going to do exactly the same thing we did on the other side. Going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. 2 half double crochet in this. 1 and 2. And then 2 more half double crochet in this. 3, 4. So pretty simple. And then we're just going to make 2 more frills exactly like we did on the other side. If you need to see some of it again, you can always rewind and all, but I'll see you when I'm done with this side. So now we have the frills on the face done. You might see I took the liberty to fasten off camera. Now we don't even need to crochet anymore. So now we can sew the legs on, and we'll pretty much be done except for all these ends. Although this is pretty simple, I'll show you where I like to place them and all. So obviously we're going to want it so that it can stand up on its legs, or you can make it laying down if you want to. So I'm going to place them about equally apart and parallel to each other. So I'll show you how to do this first one. So I'm going to thread my needle, and it can be straight or curved like this. I find curved to be more helpful. And we're going to place this one like right here, so that it will still be able to stand on it, as you can see, and it'll be still kind of visible from the side. But also not too close to the neck. We don't want it's like coming out of its neck. So we just go through a stitch here or anything over here and through our first stitch here. Then pull it all through. Okay, so make sure we like our placement all. I think mine's a bit too much to the side, but we can fix that as we're sewing it on. And then we can go through this here and just continue to sew it on. Fairly self-explanatory, really. Although, if you are just now starting this, I can imagine it can be a bit confusing. And I'm going to show you how I fasten off with these tails of things that I've sewn on. So, and then that's our last one there. And now that we have that all pulled through and sewn on, what we can do is we can go through a loop on the leg close to where this is coming out of. I'll zoom in a bit for you. Close to where this string is coming out of, insert our needle around there and pull this through, but not all the way through, still leaving a loop here for you. So what you can do now is put your needle through that, if you can, and just tighten it as much as you can without breaking this thread. And then what you do is you go through in a spot really close to it, and I usually pull it through about the back. And there we go. When you want to, you can just cut this off. I'm just going to wait till I have all of them sewn on. And that's pretty much how you do it. I'll get back to you when I have all my legs sewn on, and then I'll kind of just show you how I like to hide these ends. So now we have those all sewed on, and what I usually try to do is have the legs about 1 stitch apart, 1 or 2, and then the front and back legs about 2 rows apart. But of course, it really doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want. So now we can cut all these. And I like to save these extra ends that I use, and I will try to stuff things with them actually. So just so I can get some reuse out of the yarn instead of throwing it away. So now I'm going to show you how we can hide all of these ends we have sticking out all over the place. So there are 2 ways we can do this. We can get our hook back and thread it through there for every single one, and then pull it through and hide it, which kind of does make it easier to hide it more correctly. I'm going to try to pull it through these so you can't see it, or make sure you put it so it can't get pulled back out, because then the whole thing just kind of comes apart. Well, I mean, it'll look bad at least. So I'm putting it through there, and then putting it through the body itself. Then just pull it out in any spot, not a spot too close though. And then we can cut that. Or, in the way I prefer to do it, we can get our hook back from where we threw it and take our hook. Now, it's kind of hard with these because you saw I pulled it through here with my needle. We can pull it through here with our hook. As you can see, it's already harder. And then pull it through the project with our hook. Come out in this hole here and pull it. Now, I prefer that method, as I don't like having to thread the needle every single time. But you can do whatever you want and whatever you find easiest. So I'll be back when I'm all done with all those ends. And then that's pretty much all. You now have your own little axolotl. I hope that was fairly easy to understand, and you can find this and more things like it on my Etsy shop, which just happens to be called It's Yarn Good. You might have happened to notice that my symbol looks like this, and that symbol is the Hebrew letter Bet, which is the first letter of the first word in the Bible, in the Hebrew Bible, which is create, because my creativity and everyone's creativity ultimately comes because God created first. And I hope you all remember that today, and I hope you have lots of fun making these cute little axolotls. Have a nice day!